Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. A foreign-controlled company, Superior Concrete Inc., whose officers are Ian Charles Jones, Richard Austin Shamlin, and Maxwell Christopher Jones, has proceeded to build a concrete batching facility in Houston without any regulatory permission. We confirmed this with the Mayor and City Council, Central Housing and Planning Authority, and the EPA. To make matters worse, when the Central Housing and Planning Authority visited the site to serve a contravention order last week, this order was discarded by Jones. The document demanded that the foreign officers show which regulatory body gave them the power or the permission to go ahead with their operations. The land in question is a development adjacent to South Rheinveld. We were able to obtain a copy of the transport for the plot in use and observed that it is part of Houston Estates. And moving on. Between fossil fuels and renewables, Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, recently said there is no doubt now that the latter is a way more cost-effective option, thereby reinforcing the soundness of calls to transition to cleaner energy sources. Given the need to make radical changes to lower global temperature, Guterres is urging the global banking system to fund more climate-resilient projects. Guterres says he welcomes countries that have pledged to end fossil fuel finance and subsidies. He stressed, nonetheless, that the time has come to put a price on carbon and to shift taxation from income to carbon. And now let's tell you, 4 GDF ranks along with a policeman were yesterday arrested for breaching the COVID-19 regulations. According to a police report, the lawmen were apprehended between 1 hour 30 and 2 hours at 43 Middle Street, Podrine, West Bank, Demerara. One of the GDF ranks had hosted a private party at the location. Joint services ranks were at the time conducting a COVID-19 enforcement in the area when they observed the party in full swing and decided to drop in. The attendees, upon seeing the ranks, hurried for the nearest exit, but the GDF ranks, the policemen, and 2 civilians were caught. They reportedly began behaving disorderly, and attempted to resist the arrest. One of the civilians, according to police, had kicked the back windscreen of its patrol vehicle, completely shattering it. Meanwhile, GWI this past week announced the acquisition of a hydraulic well maintenance truck, but the utility company is at present unable to use the $45 million piece of equipment since it is inoperable. Additionally, the personnel trained by the utility company in Holland to operate the machinery have since left the job, even as GWI is desperately trying to get the truck operational so that it can assimilate the vehicle into its 2021 robust well maintenance program. The $45 million truck and ancillaries are 22 years old, and it only carries a limited warranty of 6 months valued at 10% or $2.4 million, and there is no warranty for the additional ancillary equipment purchased. And moving on. Linden police are searching for a man who last Friday evening reportedly raped and sodomized a Linden woman at Bamia Creek. The woman, who is said to be in her 20s, reported the incident at the Amelia's Ward Police Outpost, where she detailed that after attending the wake of the late Shauna Dover, she along with a friend were driven by the perpetrator to Bamia on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway, where the acts were performed on her without her consent. A relative of the perpetrator was also an occupant of the car and allegedly witnessed the ordeal. Commander of Region 10, Hugh Winters, said that the perpetrator has been identified and he is a known character. Police are aggressively searching for him. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you that Samuel Allen, the man who was on remand for 5 years for the alleged murder of a Brazilian minor and had the charge acquitted against him by a jury in 2019, was recently remanded to prison again, this time for attempting to kill a taxi driver and a police officer. Allen was slapped with 2 counts of attempted murder charges. He was not required to plead guilty to the charge. which alleges that on September 11, 2020, he attempted to kill 40-year-old Troy Roberts, a taxi driver, and on September 14th, while resisting arrest, he attempted to kill Lance Corporal Bertland Scotland. Both incidents reportedly took place in Port Kaituma, Region 1. Magistrate Best remanded Allen to prison, and the matter was adjourned to August 3rd. It was reported that on the night of September 11th, Roberts had to run for his life after he was stabbed in the neck in his car by Allen, who was a passenger at the time.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh,